after releasing a bizarre pregnancy-themed video on Instagram that obviously missed the mark. Meghan Markle has been on a slow but steady downward spiral. The backlash was loud, viral, and brutal. Fans weren't just irritated. They were turned off completely, and now Meghan is out there losing support. It's difficult to watch someone crash and still act like they're in control of the wheel. But that's exactly what's happening with Meghan Markle. Let's go back a little. The video was supposed to be a soft launch for season 2 of her lifestyle series with Love Meghan, but let's be honest, it wasn't. They shot everything at once, then cut it in half and put a new season label on it to make it look like Netflix renewed her show. By the day, she was losing followers and clinging to a narrative that, in all honesty, just makes things worse. When fans who had followed Meghan's journey up to this point felt that it was manipulative, and most importantly, unnecessary. The real trouble began when she used that promotional slot to post a tone-deaf hyperstage video that attempted to be emotional but ended up being somewhere between awkward and cringeworthy. When people began to call it out, studios took notice, leaving Netflix on edge. And even insiders claim that executives were pressuring her to. Meghan's refusal to remove the video is costing her a lot of money, although she may argue that it's about defending herself. The truth is that big players in the industry don't want to deal with someone who doesn't want to play ball, especially when public opinion is rapidly shifting. What's crazy is how Meghan responded instead of apologizing or providing clarification. She went on the offensive and called out her own fans. Her words were emotional, but not in the way you might expect. There was no humility or even introspection, just bitterness. She portrayed herself as a misunderstood victim of a shallow society that couldn't handle her sincerity, which might have worked if she hadn't been using the third person all the time. She claimed that people were leaving her over something innocent and genuine, although there is truth to the pressures women in the media face. Meghan somehow manages to make every situation about herself, as if the only issue is that people don't understand her, even though they do understand her. She also claimed that supporters abruptly stopped supporting her and that those who left were never true fans but rather were phonies. Purchasing the picture no longer the paradox is that, despite her repeated claims of being as authentic as possible, the way she delivers these statements, the practiced tone, the deflective attitude feels anything but genuine. Rather than admitting her mistakes, she doubles down and continues to promote the notion that she is the victim of unfair judgment, when, in fact, the problem is not society but rather her total incapacity to read the room. It's not just the video. There's a larger pattern at work here. People are outraged not because she's genuine, but rather because she's constantly attempting to project a version of herself that doesn't fit what they're seeing. Meghan's brand has come to represent carefully staged vulnerability, flawless lighting, manufactured genuineness, and an unwavering conviction that all criticism stems from jealousy or ignorance. But that fans are not dumb. The situation with Meghan didn't just stop when her followers abandoned her, continued to unravel quickly. What was once a carefully curated public image is now being dissected from every angle. And the pregnancy video may have sparked a backlash. They can see through the filters. And when someone you once supported treats any pushback like betrayal, it's only a matter of time until the support vanishes entirely. Fire the way she's handling the fallout, however, is what's really causing the backlash. Instead of the polished poise that once characterized her, there is now tension, frustration, and an odd mixture of superiority and desperation that permeates every public statement. She's not just dismissing the criticism. She's actively clapping back at executives, the media, and even the same fans who helped establish her brand. Her interviews now have this odd tone, where she preaches empowerment one minute and then accuses everybody who doesn't support her actions mindlessly the next. That type of approach irritates a lot of people, especially in a field where your audience determines your worth. No matter how well known you are, you will lose them if you make them feel guilty for having ideas. Her most recent remarks only served to stoke the flames. She rambled on about how she won't compromise her vision, even if it means losing more business. She presented it as a daring display of artistic bravery. But remember that this is a branded lifestyle program with a $UNDOA million Netflix contract, not some misinterpreted indie film project. There is a difference between corporate suicide and artistic honesty. People are raising their artistic. People are raising their apparent concern with pointing out false devotion. Even as she appears to be walking it with her eyes closed, Meghan's tirade against posers was more about control than fan culture. She's attempting to reinterpret what it means to be a true fan, which is essentially someone who stands with her no matter what. Fandom is a cult following. And that type of expectation doesn't fit in. Although Netflix executives believed they were getting a royal cash cow in 2025. They are now stuck with a PR nightmare because her refusal to remove the video despite internal pressure wasn't just defiance. It was a signal that she doesn't follow anyone's rules but her own. Which may sound empowering on paper, but in realitybusness world, insiders are leaking information about how the program is being renamed mid-shoot to try and preserve audience. There are rumors of significant changes, new message, and a frantic shift toward more relevant themes. It simply seems careless. Even the production of With Love Meghan is being scrutinized. Day talking points are being highlighted. And the show's tone is changing from glitzy entertainment to viewers aren't purchasing pseudo-therapeutic life advice because it seems like a diversion from the true problem, not because the subjects are unimportant. The sad thing is that Meghan herself still has a platform and skill. But she is choosing to die with a version of herself that made it difficult for her to step back. The more she immerses herself in this victim character isn't working anymore. Admitting a mistake doesn't bring shame or growth. But when you double down on a misfire and demand loyalty like it's due, you're not inspiring people. Instead, you're just making them feel trapped, and no one stays when they feel trapped. The entertainment industry is closely monitoring Meghan's every move, acting as a warning, happening in real time. And it's not just about poor PR anymore. It's about trust. Studios are investing on consistency, image control, and predictability in addition to content. Meghan is demonstrating that she is none of those things. One minute she is accusing people of misinterpreting her, and the next, she is humiliating audiences for not supporting her every choice. This type of uncertainty causes executives to get anxious, evolves into risky transactions that begin to fade. A red line is when someone disregards explicit requests to remove harmful content. Priority already pulled the plug. The word behind the scenes is that they were okay with creative flair, but it wasn't just the video that worried them. It also showed a refusal to work together to correct the course or even listen. Meghan lost credibility in Netflix in addition to the transaction. The truth is that Meghan could have taken ownership of the moment, admitted that she misread the room, and used the fallout to pivot in a more grounded direction. But instead, she chose the path of stubborn defiance. And now she's promoting season 2 as though it's some sort of redemption arc promising, although technically still in partnership. Everyone is watching from the edge of their seats, hoping that season 2 doesn't crash harder than the first. Fans believe that this will be the version of Meghan that they finally comprehend. But it's not working. The public doesn't want to see more of Meghan. They want her to be honest, straight, and unvarnished, and they're not getting it. In addition, season 2 is said to be full of messages about empowerment, self-worth, and the challenges faced by women in the spotlight. On paper, those messages sound powerful, but when they're delivered, are coming from someone who doesn't want to be held responsible. It loses impact and begins to seem more like a shield than a narrative, and viewers can detect when something is being said to uplift them and when it's being said to shelter the speaker. The amount of fresh content that feels rehashed is also becoming more and more apparent. Critics have already noted parallels between Meghan's thoughts and Thor writings of individuals such as Tools such as even Pamela Anderson and Rachel Ray usages of repackaged branding and copied concepts are common, and although part of that may just be coincidence, the optics aren't nice, especially when the person at the center is already dealing with a fake reputation. To make matters worse, Netflix is becoming more ups. Ted Sarandos and Greg Peters are apparently at odds over how to deal with the circumstances. One is working to prevent the brand from collapsing further, while the other is still holding out hope that Meghan's impact may be salvaged. However, it is difficult to rebuild when the foundation is so unstable. Meghan's interviews continue to backfire. Her remarks are being analyzed line by word, and dramatic camera angles won't make her appear any less defensive. Ultimately, her legacy won't be determined by just one video, it will be determined by her actions following it. And at the moment, that is a masterclass in alienation. She is attempting to distinguish between genuine supporters and fake ones, but all she is accomplishing is reducing the size of her fan base. The fans who once encouraged her are leaving because of the way she handled everything that followed. And that is the part that sticks and that no PR team can fix.